And welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game, you were watching. So you're allowed to have an opinion as well. All right, man, we back to it. Had a little bit of time to let this thing breathe for a little bit. Let some more rumors as well as factual evidence take place. So I think it's time to review here. First of all, let's go back over the newly hired head coach, Todd Monken. Okay, and what I want to do is just want to quickly, briefly go over a little bit, just a little bit, about his offensive resume, if you will. Just a couple of bullet points, just to try to give a little brief view of what some of his offenses have been able to accomplish and where they may have ranked at that time. So with the Baltimore Ravens 2024, Todd Monken led the number 3 total offense in the NFL, as well as the number 1 rushing attack. 2023 with the Baltimore Ravens, their offense was 12th. They were ranked 12th in total offense. 2022, when he was at Georgia, winning national championship, he was number 1 in the nation in total points scored, which was 616, and total yards with 7,517. So that's pretty darn good if you ask me. 2021 Georgia was 9th in points per game at 38.6. For that to be 9th is actually crazy, because 38.6 a game is wild. And he also ranked 4th in yards per play at 7. 2018 with the Tampa Bay Bucks, he led them to being 3rd in total offense, and also had the number 1 passing game in the NFL, with slightly over 320 yards per game. Honorable mention, 2019, when he was here with the Browns, as offensive coordinator. I would like to note, when he was with the Browns in 2019 as the offensive coordinator, he was not the play caller. That was Freddie Kitchens. And ironically, Todd Monken is somewhat on record saying that basically Freddie's play calling was trash. I'm paraphrasing. But basically what he said was Freddie's play calling was trash. And a lot of the reason that Freddie's play calls was considered trash, not just by Todd Monken, but also a lot of the players as well, is because there was this thing going around. Multiple people, multiple sources said this, coaches, players included, that Freddie had this thing where during the game, Freddie liked to call plays that they hadn't practiced and or worked on all week long. So the plays that you practice and work on all week long leading up to the game, you don't really call those plays. You call a bunch of other plays that you didn't necessarily practice and or work on that week. So that in itself was kind of counterproductive, let alone what plays, that you are deciding to call and if they're good or if they're not good. So just the fact that you was calling plays that you didn't practice all week, you wasn't practicing and you wasn't running them plays all week, like that's just mind-boggling to me. Like, why on earth would you why would you do that? I don't understand. I'm pretty sure the players didn't understand that either. So I just wanted that to be a side note. However, in 2019 with the Browns, the offense that he constructed, the offense that he put together, even though he wasn't calling the plays, he still put the offense together. It produced 2,000 plus yard receivers in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. So you had 2,000 yard receivers on the exact same team. Mind you, when Kevin was calling the plays this past season, we couldn't get 1,000 yard, just 1,000 yard receiver. Only thing we could do is get a receiver that lead the league in drops. That's pretty much it. So yeah, the offense that Monken put together, because if he had been calling the plays, it could have been even better than this, but he wasn't calling the plays, it was Freddie. So the offense that he put together produced 2,000 plus yard receivers in Odell and Jarvis, and a running back in Nick Chubb who rushed for 1,494 yards and was second in the NFL. He would have actually won the rushing title that year had Freddie Kitchens made a concerted effort to give him the ball the same way that the Baltimore Ravens made a concerned effort to give Derrick Henry the ball. Oh, no. At that time, it wasn't the Ravens. It wasn't the Ravens. It was the Tennessee Titans. Forgive me. So the Tennessee Titans made a concerted effort to give Derrick Henry the football. Nick Chubb could have easily won the rushing title that year, but Freddie was Freddie. So yeah, that's just small little tidbits, of what Monken's offenses have been able to produce, and just respectfully, if we compare that to, the bullet points and breakdowns of what I gave for Stefanski's offenses in his 6-year tenure with the Browns, the highest that Stefanski's offenses ranked with the Browns were mid. I think the highest that any of his offenses ranked, I think, was around like 16th, 15th or 16th, somewhere around there. I talked about it in past video. So it was mid. It was somewhere around, that was like the highest that it was ranked. 15, 16, somewhere right there. Maybe, I'm going to say maybe 14th, but I think that's pushing it. It was literally middle of the pack. It was mid. Like that, when his offenses were at their best, total offenses, passing offense, middle of the pack was what it was. Monken has a track record of, clearly, again, just in 2024, he had the Ravens, third in total offense. You know what I mean? 2023, they was 12th in total offense. So, just immediately, you have an upgrade as far as your offensive scheme and production and whatnot is concerned. So what I would like to tap into a little bit next is, what I was speaking on in the video previously, with the decisions that the Browns were making and the effects that it was having on some of the other coaches, mainly Jim Schwartz. And I said that, the Browns needed to basically get on your knees, pause, don't be too proud to beg, and beg Jim Schwartz, just pretty much beg that man to stay and not go nowhere. Tell him that you messed up. Tell him that you were wrong. And you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have done him like that. Whatever it took, to basically get him to be on board and stay as your defensive coordinator. Well, as the time has passed since our last meeting here, Dogs on the Couch, Jim Schwartz did one of the most confusing moves, I guess is the best way to say it. It was confusing to me. I don't really understand it. I don't get it. I said that I understood Schwartz's frustration and even if, anger. Like I 100% understood precisely where he was coming from and why he would feel that way. I also did not bash him, for his outburst, his reaction. Like I didn't bash him for that. Because like I said, to me, it shows that you cared. Like I want a coach who cares. I want you to be emotional about this stuff. Show me that it matters to you. Because it matters to me. So show me that it matters to you. Like I don't want a coach that it don't really matter to him. I want a coach who's fired up. I want a coach who wants opportunity, who feels like they the guy. Like sorry. I just feel like that's a leader. You know what I'm saying? That's a leader. That's somebody I would follow. Because if not, like I'm a leader. So if I'm gonna follow somebody, you got to be a leader, bro. Otherwise, I'm finna lead myself. Like it's just what it is. So I said that I agreed with his outburst and everything and didn't have a problem with it. And I understood. I just felt like the Browns needed to do what they needed to do to, resolve that issue and, get him back feeling, good about himself and ready to go for the upcoming season. Well, unfortunately, Jim Schwartz has resigned. He wrote a letter, whatnot to the Browns and, said he was, resigning. He was going to step away. And the craziest part of all, that he was going to sit out this year. So you're going to resign and then you're going to sit out this year. Now, respectfully, Jim Schwartz, because I've been supporting you. I still support you. I just don't support this move. I don't support this move. To sit out? So I don't know. Maybe that's the only choice that he had, given the position that he was in. He might have only had two choices, which is either defensive coordinator for the Browns or just don't coach in the NFL. Well, respectfully, me. And I don't, Jim Schwartz's bank account look completely different. They're two different worlds. His bank account and my bank account is the furthest thing away from each other that they could possibly be. So that could have a lot to do with it. But me personally, money aside, I would much rather take the opportunity to coach in the NFL than to say, well, I'm going to sit out. Especially if my end game, my end goal is to get a head coaching position. Clearly, it doesn't have to be with the Browns. So if my end game, my end goal is to get a head coaching position, well, if I've been running this stellar defense for the past 2 years, elite top-notch defense, I've been more of the face of the Browns the past 2 years than Kevin Stefanski has. Especially if we're talking about like the positive face of the Browns. It's been Jim Schwartz. So this is my thing. If I'm Schwartz, the way I would be thinking about it, if I'm trying to land this head coaching gig, in next year's cycle. Well, I was able to put these defenses together up under this terrible offense and look fantastic. Like as bad as the team was, the one portion of the team that always got praise was my portion of the team. This is if I'm Jim Schwartz, is what I'm thinking. My portion of the team is always what's been getting praised and viewed as the functioning part of the team. There's nothing wrong there. You're good to go as far as the defense is concerned. So if I was able to produce that with one of the most lackluster offenses to ever exist in the NFL, well, I would be looking at it like, well, I mean, I think Monken can do a little bit better than that, especially considering I believe Monken's record against Schwartz is 5-2, and I think he's averaging almost 300 passing yards and a little over 100 rushing yards against your defenses, Schwartz. This is what he doing against your defenses. So if I'm Schwartz, I would be looking at it like, well, I mean, I got respect for Buddy in the offenses that he be running because they, you know, they work because they be working against me. So they work. It's something about his offenses that he put to get scheme it up where it works. So if I put my defense with his offense, the team might actually look all right. The team might actually look okay. And then not only that, let's just say the team actually ends up looking better than okay. Let's say you have a winning record. Let's just say, for the sake of saying, man, that you have a winning record. Let's say that you go 9-8. It only had to be nothing spectacular, just a winning record. You go 9-8. Do you know how much praise is going to come with that 9-8 record? Going from winning 3 games to then, 5 games? 5? I lost count because we don't really win. So you went from winning 3 games to 5 games to 9 games? 9 games? If Todd Monken go 9-8 and win 9 games, he might win coach of the he might he might win AP Coach of the Year. He might get him a Coach of the Year award. You have a winning record with the Browns. He might win Coach of the Year. You never know. Seem to be a thing here with the Browns. If you get a winning record with the Browns, you win the Coach of the Year. So I'm just simply saying, imagine how great that would look, like how great of a look that would be for you, Jim Schwartz. If it was me, I would have did the Michael Jordan. I'd have been like, this, all right, this the last dance. I'd have been like, I'd have did the Jerry Krause, Michael Jordan. I'd be like, this the last dance. If I was Schwartz, I'd have told him, I'd have been like, look, hey, we could win the Super Bowl. I'm not coming back. This is my last year. Okay, we finna do this thing. We finna do this. We finna have this last dance. I'm here for this year. Okay, I'm letting you know. I'm gonna give y'all the time. Get whatever you need to get together. Because I don't care what happens. We could go to the Super Bowl. I could win Defensive Coach of the Year. I could coach the best defense. They could have the best defense that ever lived. Statistically, we could just be the best ever. I'm not coming back. This is it. That's what I would have did. That's what I did. With a behind closed door, that's what I would have told them. Hey, this is it. This is the last year. I'm doing it this year. And I would have told them, I'm doing it for myself. Okay? I'm finna go out here. I'm finna have another super spectacular season on defense. I don't care what y'all do on offense. Don't really matter to me. I'm pretty sure Monken would have been cool with that. I'm sure Monken would have been cool. Like, hey, look, I don't plan on telling y'all what to do on defense anyway. I don't plan on trying to come over there and tell you what to do. I was going to let you have it. Let you do whatever it is that you do. I didn't come here for that. I came here for the offense. I didn't come here to try to tell you what to do over there. Because one of the things Monken said is he wanted to keep everything on defense. He wanted to keep it the same. He don't want to change anything on defense. He just wants to keep it the way that it is. So I don't think he planned on telling you what to do. So for me, I'd just be like, we finna run it back one more time. Okay, let's see if Myles Garrett, let's see if we can break this sack record. Let's see if we can break your own record. Let's see if we can do it again. Because you could have had more, but Aaron Rodgers was too worried about trying to stay away from you than he was winning the game. So you could have had more sacks if people wasn't purposely trying to get away from you. and hurry up and get the ball out so you can't tackle him and all this other stuff. You redesigning their whole offensive plan just to not let you get a sack. So that's what I would have did if I was Schwartz. But respectfully, as we get to the end of it, hey man, much as I was on board with Jim Schwartz, much as I love the work that he's done, Todd Monken kind of gave a quote. Some people felt like it was a shot. I don't necessarily know if it was a shot. I think it was more, when you hear about Todd Monken, everybody always describes him as the straight shooter. He's straightforward, you know what I'm saying? Real direct, not a guy to pull any punches or try to pull the wool over your eyes or anything like that. So in my opinion, I believe it was just him being him and, just speaking straightforward. I mean, first of all, these are things that you would never get out of Kevin Stefanski. So that's amazing. The fact that you got a guy who's actually able and willing to communicate and seems to be pretty good at communicating as well. But he has a quote where he kind of says, I wasn't, when I was drawing up these offenses, I wasn't preparing to chip Jim Schwartz. I was preparing to chip Myles Garrett. When I was designing my offenses for the passing game, I wasn't looking at Jim Schwartz in the secondary. I was looking at trying to stay away from Denzel Ward is who I was looking at. That's who I was scheming for, if you will. It wasn't Jim Schwartz. And I mean, respectfully, that it's nothing against Jim Schwartz. He ain't saying that nothing against Jim Schwartz, but it's factual. It kind of is what it is. Because as great as we say Jim Schwartz is as a coach for the defense, which is very true, we also have to admit that Jim Schwartz also has some great pieces on defense to work with. Both pieces that he inherited as well as pieces that were drafted and given to him, during his tenure here. So, there is credit to Schwartz for coaching as well as developing the talent that he was given as well. However, Myles Garrett is a one of one. Denzel Ward don't come a dime a dozen in the league. Denzel Ward's been a premier corner since day one. Only problem Denzel Ward has ever had is concussions. It's the only problem Denzel Ward has ever had. Outside of concussions, you can pretty much lock him wherever Denzel Ward is, whatever man he guarding or whatever side of the field he on, you can lock that up. You could book it, pack it up. Whoever that guy is, pack it up, pack him up. It's a wrap for you. You might not want to try Denzel Ward. The Pittsburgh Steelers tried him 3 times for the game. 3 times it was unsuccessful. Again, just to kind of show, Buddy is not to be played with. Pause. He's just not. So we have to admit that those things matter. They do. They matter. You know what I'm saying? Because, you could be coaching a defense that has much, much, much lesser talent. You know what I'm saying? And then we can kind of see what you do with that. Which might be a position that you end up being in, sitting out a year, especially, at your age and everything like that. I wouldn't have been in a rush to sit out. What if I don't know. It seems like to me you give opportunities for other individuals to jump you again. And not only in the head coaching aspect, but now in the defensive coordinator aspect. Because what I wouldn't want the guy coming behind me doing just as good as me, if not better. I wouldn't want that. Because imagine by some wild stretch, the new defensive coordinator with the Browns come in and they look even better than what they looked up under you. Well, then all of the credit might get taken away from you, and it might say, well, the only reason that you look that good is because of the players that you had. I wouldn't want that. Yeah, I wouldn't want that. And if that was happening, I wouldn't want that to happen in a year where I'm sitting out. I would want that to happen in a year where I already got a job somewhere else, coaching some other people, to where I can either, I can compete with it by showing how great the defense is that I'm coaching over here already, or I'm already securing, I already got another job, so I can't get leapfrogged or pushed to the side or anybody forget about me or any kind of, any kind of thing of that nature. So, like I say, much as I stood up for Jim Schwartz, I think he swung and missed. Resigning, and then his plan is I'm gonna sit out. All right, well, sit out then, man. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, well, sit out. I wanted you, but all right, sit out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then if I'm Monken, I would just bring somebody in, and just whoever else was on the staff, I'd be like, hey, what was they doing? All right, well, tell Buddy right there, and then y'all just keep running that. You know what I'm saying? And I'll step in if I feel like if it just get too bad, then I'll step in. But for the most part, I think y'all should be all right. Whatever Schwartz was running, just run that. Just run it. Just run that. Who cares? He's sitting out this year anyway, so he can't say nothing. So whatever he was running, just keep running that. Just keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? That we might add, you add your own little couple wrinkles in there or whatever you want to do, but just keep running that. Now the Shedeur aspect of it. Because there's this, of course, there's this thing that everybody wants to pin the quarterback on Todd Monken, and they want to try to do what they can and whatever tidbits of information, I ain't gonna even say information, but social media stuff and different things of that nature, because we've all seen it. Well, we've all seen the video of him and Shedeur meeting each other in the Browns facility and whatnot. And that 20-second clip of them interacting with one another, man, it was golden. Like, to see that 20-second clip, after everything that happened with Kevin Stefanski, and people wanted to say, oh, no, he's not sabotaging him. No, he loves Shedeur. He doesn't have anything against Shedeur, and blah, 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 blah. You guys are making this stuff up. When we used to say stuff like, well, he had him on a separate field throwing the garbage cans and equipment staff. He wouldn't even say the young man's name. He wouldn't give him any first team reps as the backup. No first team reps at all. And then it became this thing. No backup ever gets first team reps. And then it's like, that's not true. And we all know that that's not true. There are professional quarterbacks that came out and said, Cam Newton came out and said, Derek Anderson was getting reps as my backup. He was. Because Ron Rivera knew, hey, we only one play away from Derek Anderson having to go in the game. So we're going to give him, 2 to 4 reps at the end of the practice period with the ones, so he can just have a little bit of experience, just a little bit of mojo with people that he might have to go into the game and play with. So, all of those things that, Kevin kind of could have put to bed, but he's so him. He's such an a-hole that, no, why would I put that to bed? I'm finna stand on business. I'm about to keep not saying his name. Every time you ask me a question about Shedeur, I'm going to tell you something about Dylan Gabriel. Every time you ask me a question about Shedeur, I'm going to answer it with, well, all of our young players. That's what I'm going to do. Within the first 20 seconds of Shedeur meeting Todd Monken, we get strong DAP. For people who don't know what DAP is, strong DAP. What's up with it? All right, we get strong DAP, and then just like a little playful hug, grab, tug at him, and Monken says to him, he says, we tried to draft your butt last year. You remember that? Huh? Shedeur like, yeah, I was just about to say that, Coach. I remember that. I was just going to say that. Now, this is my thing. I'm not so sure who's going to be the starting quarterback. I don't think Todd Monken cares. I think Todd Monken is going to go with whoever he deems to be the best quarterback. I think he'll have like a little competition, a real quarterback competition, and whoever wins will be your starter. Monken can adjust and adapt to different quarterbacking styles. Um, we had written Deshaun Watson off, because he's so terrible and the two Achilles and blah, blah, blah. But what's so crazy is like, they don't say this stuff about Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Both guys who are old as crap, older than Deshaun Watson, and have suffered Achilles injuries. Like, I don't understand. We write off Deshaun Watson, but like we okay with Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Make it make sense to me. Like, I don't understand. Or like a Jameis Winston. Like, people still entertain those guys as quarterbacks. But somehow we write off Deshaun Watson. I don't think Monken has completely written off Deshaun Watson. I think that Monken say to himself, well, let me get an up close and personal look at him. Because he didn't like the offense that y'all was running, like to the point where he just flat out said it, and y'all had to go get Ken Dorsey, and then we know how that worked. Like, we pretended to make this offense for Deshaun Watson, because even when we brought Dorsey in, freaking Kevin Stefanski was still calling the plays. So that's similar to when Monken was drawing up the offense in 2019, but you had bonehead Freddie Kitchens calling the plays. So as masterful as this offense was, you had a guy who was calling plays, but he calling plays that y'all ain't even practiced all week long. But the plays themselves is just so good, it still managed to get you 2,000-yard receivers and a almost 1,500-yard running back. And this is with a guy calling plays that y'all wasn't practicing. So, like, effectively, he was sabotaging his own team. Was what Freddie was doing. So, respectfully, Kevin could have been doing the exact same thing. We don't know. Kevin could have been calling who knows what off of that play sheet. Yeah, Ken Dorsey drew up the offense and tried to design something more for Deshaun, but Kevin was the one calling it. So Kevin could have been like, oh, yeah, let me run this garbage right here. Since he liked this spread offense or whatever so much, let me call this crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kevin is that kind of person. Like, he never say it because, it's the smug attitude, but he always thinks he's the smartest person in the room. I'm sorry. What he doing over there in Atlanta shows you he thinks that he's the smartest person in the room. He's bringing Alex Van Pelt, Callahan, you know what I'm saying? I guess trying to assemble the Avengers from the Browns. So he can just run his stuff and be like, see, I was right all along. Drake London, I would be scared if I was you, okay? Because if you get to running that same crap that he was running before, you might not ever see the football, okay? So Drake London, if I was you, I'd be looking to see if I can get up out of there. Wide receivers, they go missing. They go on milk cartons in Kevin Stefanski's offense. Okay, usually the wide receivers, the only place you see them is on the back of a milk carton. So Drake London, you might want to start taking a look at your free agency options or whenever your contract up. You know what I'm saying? Just for the record. But as far as pairing Monken with a quarterback. I think he's going to make his own personal, decision. And I think, that Shedeur is just like in the position where he's like, well, let me do everything I can as a quarterback to show the new head coach why I should be the starter. And rightfully so. But ultimately, man, just that 20-second clip right there of that interaction between those two, I think will help Monken greatly, throughout his quarterback search. Because my thing is this: even if he doesn't decide to start Shedeur week 1, I believe that 20-second clip that was shown, even if he doesn't start Shedeur, I don't think what they call the Shedeurians, the Shedeur cult, I don't think they'll attack him. I don't think they'll attack him and be like, oh, you're trying to hold Shedeur back. You're trying to sabotage Shedeur. I don't think they'll do that. Because I think that Monken has expressed like that he's open to Shedeur, that he's not just closed off from him. It's not when they ask about Shedeur or he wants to talk about Dylan Gabriel. Like, Monken ain't doing that. For off rip, he embraced the kid. Full embrace it, and not no corny, forced crap. It's like, nah, this was a genuine reaction between the two of us. And he openly said, and he didn't have to say this, because he know the cameras is rolling. He didn't have to say, we tried to draft your butt last year, right? He didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say that. But at the end of the day, what he's doing is he's building a relationship with that kid. So that way, even if day one you not the starter, you don't check out on me. You still feel like I'm interested and invested in you. Even if you not the starter. I'm going to get you some first team reps, even if you not the starter. I'm not finna have you throwing to equipment staff on a separate field. No, you over here with us. And you're finna get a couple first team reps too. The offensive line is going to know what your cadence sounds like. It's not going to be week 9 and Rod Taylor like, yeah, I think I only heard his cadence once. We're not finna have that. And again, I think that that's an immediate jump on the whole hate from the Shadorians and the Shador call. I think he was able to get ahead of that, and I believe that that's a smart thing to do, personally. And then as far as, the view, if you will, of Shador, because one thing that Monken said, one thing that Todd Monken said, he's giving like this little, this little interview or whatever, and he's saying like one of the telltale signs of, certain players, especially quarterbacks, is like, how do other people speak about that player or that quarterback, his teammates, man? You know what I mean? And you can just basically tell by how they speak about the guy, what kind of belief or, whatever it is, that the guy possesses. Basically that's kind of like one of the highest compliments that you could get is the way that your teammates, speak about you. And, Monken says that he considers that, a lot, that he takes that in. There's really quickly, here is Shelby Harris and his comments, thoughts, views, and opinions of Shador Sanders.
We love Shador, and the way he carries himself in the locker room, he's one of the guys. He's always around everybody. He's always talking to everybody. He's always, just in the mix. And so all these bad things that you heard about Shador before the draft is trash. It was people trying to tear down his name, and that's not who he was at all. And I know other quarterbacks that are like that, and that's not him. And so that's why, I'll always stand up for him, because it's not fair for him to be having this negative, outline of himself when that's not him. He's a great kid, and I'm excited to see what his future holds.
Yeah, when your dad's Dion, I feel like a lot of people want to hate on you.
I mean, when we talk about when you used to have people like Jason Soft Booty Lloyd, I'm hearing from that locker room, there are people in that locker room, saying that he's this and he's that. He doesn't know how to, flip the protections and the blue and all this other crap. This coming from Shelby Harris's mouth himself. You know what I'm saying? Basically saying, hey, look, man, all this mumbo jumbo that y'all done drew up about this kid is garbage. It's trash. It's not true. That's not him. That's not who he is. This is garbage. This is trash. All the stuff you said about this kid, we don't see it. We see the exact opposite. We don't see none of this stuff that you're talking about. We don't see that in the kid. We don't see that. So, like, why are y'all even doing this? Why are y'all even painting this picture of this kid? Like, I know people who like that, and he not one of them. Some of the people that's like that, y'all don't say nothing about him. And I know that they like that, but you trying to do this with this kid? Like, come on, man. Nah, that ain't it. So, respectfully, team seems to be behind him. So, again, like I say, I don't think it'll be this thing. Like, even if he isn't the starter week 1, I don't think there will be all this chaos and, like, I don't think that'll exist. I really don't think that will exist, man. And I also think that Shador and Deshaun have somewhat of a working relationship with one another. Ultimately, and this right here is just my opinion. Ultimately, I think they both just happy as hell that Kevin Stefanski is gone. I think they both just happy as hell. Because if I'm one of them, I'll be looking at the other one. I'll be like, hey, look, I don't care if I start. I don't care if you start. I'm just glad Kevin ain't here no more. So that way, no matter either one of us, no matter which one of us is starting, we not about to look the way we was looking with Kevin. So I'm just glad that Kevin ain't here. I could start, you could start half the games, I could start the other half of the games. I don't really care. I'm just happy Kevin ain't here no more. And we got a coach that ain't about to always feel like he's the smartest person in the room, don't want to listen to nothing we got to say. And if we telling him, hey, so-and-so open, and then the coach like, oh, well, I don't care that he's open, run my offense. No, we don't want to do that. And I think they're just happy that Kevin's out of there. I would be. Just personally, I would be. I'd be happy that Kevin's gone. I'd be like, thank goodness. It's time to do something else on offense, man. We've been trying to tell Buddy that this stuff ain't working, man. He just don't want to listen. Because he think he's the smartest person in the room all the time. So we'll see, because again, like I say, talking is one thing, but actually putting it on the field and producing is a completely different thing. But all in all, totality, bringing back full circle, I was really, really, really down on the Todd Monken hire when it was initially announced. And like several others, I believe I've kind of completely switched my view the more that I've researched Monken and the more that I've listened to him talk. Because, again, I made fun of Kevin asking Matt Ryan and the owner, can I curse? Huh? Can I curse? All right, yeah, let's effing go. I'm like, what type of grown man, what type of leader of men asks permission to curse? Monken was up there in his introductory press conference, and it got to a point where he was thanking people, he ready to thank his parents and stuff like that. And he got a little emotional, and he paused for a second. And then then he cursed. He was like, shite, the real word. And he was like, yes, he said, shite. I said to myself, I wasn't going to cry up here. You know what I mean? Like, man, yeah, he's not asking for permission to curse. And not only that, he's showing you some emotion. He's showing you that, clearly this job means something to him. It's not like, clearly it don't seem like it was just this, well, whatever, I'll take it, I guess. I'll take the job or whatever. Some part of him is invested in the job, because otherwise he wouldn't have got so emotional about it in that moment. Clearly something about the job means something to him. So I like that as well. It's better than seeing this Ivy League robot sit up there and never show any emotion and never ask you, until he knows he's getting fired. Then he shows you all the emotion in the world. Then he on the sideline, throwing his headset off and telling you how Njoku didn't like him at first and all this other. Now he telling stuff that he ain't never said before and showing emotion and fighting, fist pumping and F-bombing. And he ain't never did none of this stuff before, ever. Not till he knew he was fired. Then you start doing, okay, keep that, buddy. It looks weird. Just get back to doing you. So, full circle, man. I not only am I going to give Todd Monken a shot at it, but if he does the things that he says that he does, and, that he says he's going to do, I actually support him. I actually support the guy, man. I support him. Not only am I going to give him a fair shot, I'm going to support him. I support the guy. He gives off football guy. And not just football. He has a real grasp on an analytical approach to things as well. So it's not just all football, big burly, dumb football guy. It's not all that. He's a thinker of the game as well. Like he's advanced his thinking of the game as well. You know, and it translates to the offenses that he puts together. So Todd Monken for the win. Like I'm fine with it. You know, like we make it seem like, you hear Cleveland media speak like, oh, well, you just got with the leftovers, coach nobody else wanted and whoop, 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 and all that other crap. Well, I mean, that could be the case, but like, what if the coach nobody else wanted? What if that guy ends up winning? Then what? Like, then what? The Raiders, watch this. The Raiders wanted Pete Carroll. How did that turn out? Pete Carroll was probably one of the hottest names at the time when the Raiders hired him. Great name, sexy name, right? How did that turn out? How did it look? So yeah, I mean, name aspect. Initially, it's like, who is this? But as I'm listening to the philosophies and I'm listening to him talk, what his plans are, how he is, I'm behind it. I can kind of see why they hired the guy. It matches up to what they said they was looking for, as well as why they got rid of the pass coach. Like it matched up. So we'll see. Andrew Berry, you're still on the clock though, because it has to work out. Because if it doesn't work out, Andrew Berry, you got to get up out of here. Dogs on the couch. Signing off.